Hello, welcome to episode 3, Scientific Baits Podcast. Been a long time coming, this one. We've had quite a few requests to do some more. So here we are, episode 3. I've got a few other guests in the pipeline, just getting time to get around to doing the interviews with the people. People got busy lives. I'm quite busy, although the bait's getting a bit quieter now. But what I will be doing now is a blatant plug. I've just had a small book published. It's called the Bait Anthology. It's 33,000 words long, so it's quite a few words. It's fully illustrated in colour, and I'm selling these at the moment on the website for £12 per copy. Can be posted to anywhere in the UK, Europe, and the United States. So if you just go onto Scientific Bait's website, have a look for it, the Bait Anthology. It'll be right up your street if you're interested in bait, and it should really be a good read for anybody, even if you're not interested in bait. It's quite technical, but there is a few other things in there, stories about bait developments and things. Some of it's previously published work, but I would say it was 50% previously published stuff, what's been in magazines that are no longer available, and the other 50% is new stuff. So that's that out of the way. So on this podcast, then we've got a guest on that we had on previously. In fact, Matt was our very first guest onto the podcast, Matt Kirkham. Being as though Matt's just caught a phenomenally big English carp, a 61-pound 4-ounce mirror from Grenville Lake using our bait, we thought we'd get Matt on and we'd have a little chat in depth a little bit more about Granville and the story behind the capture of this big fish and Matt's journey over the years on the big fish water, Granville. So I'll just welcome you to the podcast, Matt.
How you doing? You all right, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Is your audio okay there, Matt?
Yeah, I can hear everything. It all seems okay, mate.
Yep, smashing. So you're on the bank again, are you, at the moment?
Yeah, I'm back on Grenville for a quick night again. Yeah.
Right.
So got down here this morning it was about 10 to 8 time I got down here just for a quick night, just normal, really.
Yeah.
But seen nothing up to now, like, but you never know, do you? I've tried my best.
No, I mean, I'll just say for the benefit of the listener, how far away is Granville from where we live then?
So one way, it's depending which way you go, it's 119 mile or 124 mile one way.
Yeah, so it's certainly a bit of. Sorry?
It's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, so it's certainly a bit of effort then just for one night, and you won't even be doing. What will you be doing around about 24 hours?
Yeah, I've got a bit longer tomorrow, so I can pack up sort of 9 in the morning. Normally, previously, well, I'm packing up 6 in the morning in the dark.
Yeah, I've said to you you're a bit crazy doing that, mate, when you're going all the way down there, but
But it's like you enjoy it and that, and the last time when I caught that fish, I had a bit longer, and it paid off, didn't it?
Oh, it certainly paid off in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
So just to recap for anybody who might not listen to the podcast, and we didn't go in detail, just run us through your history with Granville. Just a brief snapshot of how many fish you've caught from there, how many tickets you've had, etc.
Yeah. So first got the ticket, I think it was 2007, 2008, and it was a lot different back then. All English fish stock, small weights, I think maybe 4, 5, 6 pound. It was the up and coming thing, but I don't know. I never thought it'd be like what it is today.
So what year was it? Because I can remember you saying to me that in the early days there wasn't even any fish over £40 in Granville up to, when did you say it was? About 2011 or something when it did its first 40.
I think roughly about then. I think I might be wrong, but it was round about thingy. When I joined, I think the biggest fish was sort of maybe 35, 36 pound.
Yeah. But you were quite successful, weren't you, in those early years? You're catching quite a lot of fish, weren't you?
Oh yeah, caught a lot of fish. It was easy back then. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
You still got work for the fish. It wasn't sort of get your cast in and you'll catch him.
Yeah.
Anyone with any knowledge of carp fishing, sort of them places sort of aren't realistic. But no, you got find the fish for them, and you catch them. But it's a lot harder. Fast forward 10, 12 years today.
Yeah, I mean, is it a lot more pressure now than it used to be back in those days?
I'd say it is. From what I can remember, it's more. I think the pressure's more sort of all round, so there's more people fishing in the week now.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's still quite a few anglers fishing back then, but there's a lot of bigger fishing now.
Yeah, and the fish have had all that time to learn as well, mate, because they definitely learn the more they get fish for.
Oh yeah, they aren't silly. These fish in here aren't. They know lines are out there, and I still believe some people don't believe this, but I still think they know you're in the swim and that by just how some people, if you're loud or you walk up and down the platforms and that, I think they know you're there.
Yeah, Carp can definitely 100% hear things and sense things. And I can remember having a discussion with one of the lads back on Trenton when I first started selling some bait on there in 2011. And he seemed to not think that fish were scared of lines, but I think he changed his mind after a while. Because, I mean, when you're fishing at range, you think, well, especially on Trenton, because it's shallow, you think your line's close to the bottom a lot of the time. But I'm pretty sure that through the lateral line and stuff, Carp can detect lines in the water. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think they can.
Yeah, I think they know they're there. I think they avoid them, depending what depth of water.
Yeah.
Even on Grenville, it's deep, but I still think they'll spook off your lines.
Yeah, definitely.
I've had them spook fish. I've had a shoal of fish come, well, I'll say maybe 6 fish come close in, literally 10 foot away from me, and one of them spooked off my line, just dropping down. And but shallower waters, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Carp. I don't know. I just think they can sense line in the water. I mean, I've seen it when obviously it's common sense that if you're fishing in the margins, make sure your lines are slack. But if ever you fish in the margins on somewhere where the water's clear and you have a tight line, they just seem to know that line's there, even if they don't bump into it.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of syndicates are fished, and in the close season, the fish will come right in, and I fed them in the close season. Now, come when the fishing season starts, those fish will be nowhere near into the margins like that. Not how I've seen them and how I've fed them. And it's happened not just on one water, but this is three waters now.
Yeah.
So there's something. Those fish aren't daft as much. Yeah, we do catch them and thingy, but I think you've got to give them credit and that they aren't daft.
No, I mean the carp they're not the most intelligent creature in the world, but they've got a very good sensory mechanisms. Obviously, they've got the sensory mechanisms for food and stuff, but I think they've also got the spatial awareness and different obstacles in the water and different things. They're a lot more tuned in than what some people give them credit for to where they live.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so in the early days, I can remember you saying on Granville, don't know what year it was. I think it was when you had your first tickets. I can remember you saying that in one little period, because you were fishing quite a bit more regularly than I think, that you had, did you have 1630s in like 4 consecutive weeks fishing or something, 4 consecutive sessions?
Yeah, at the start of it, it was sort of, I was having, well, some weekends, because I was doing like 1 or 2 nights then, and I was having like sort of bigger hits, 7 or 8 fish, and it was sort of, even though it hadn't done a 40, it seemed as if you were catching a lot, like £30, £31.
Yeah, which is, it's good prolific
Yeah,
fishing, isn't it? Yeah. Mm.
yeah. And like I say, it was a lot easier back then. Or maybe I just don't have as much time now. But obviously, the fish have wised up like anywhere. The
Yeah.
longer they've been in and that, the bigger fish now.
Mm.
People do still catch them. I've had a couple of good hits since, like, over the last 4 or 5 years, like better hits. But it was different back in the early days.
Yeah. 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 So I suppose now it's just a case of if you catch one in a session, you've had a bit of result just catching one.
Yeah, definitely. I think now you look at it, if you catch a fish over a weekend or however long you're here for, you've done well and you've got to be happy at what you've achieved.
Yeah, because I mean, even though it's got a big stock of fish, it's no pushover, is it? It's no pushover, that place isn't.
No, it's everything can be against you. It can be a tough place whenever when everything's going against you. It's just like standing on the seafront. It's like
Yeah,
going to stand on Blackpool seafront.
yeah, yeah,
You think, what on earth am I doing?
yeah. And there's, I think from what you've said as well, there's vast areas where you just can't reach the fish, and they just set out at range, isn't there?
Oh yeah, it's a big water. The fish can be out at range, 200 yards. You can see them showing. Some days it's like phenomenal. If you, I did a bit of like just videoed a few on my phone, and 200 yards out you can see the fish showing. You watch them through binoculars, and you're sitting back here away from him. You just see little flicks in the water. When you get your binoculars out and watch them, you realise actually them little them little flicks, are huge fish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
It's
breaking the surface, yeah, because they're a long way
yeah,
away.
yeah, it's unbelievable when you actually watch them when they're having a proper show. It's phenomenal. It's something, and people have videoed it with like proper equipment, and I've watched it on YouTube, and it's actually phenomenal when you actually see how big the fish are coming out.
Mm. Yeah, and there's a lot, there's a lot of them as well. Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this year then, so on the run up to catching this giant, just run it by us. Just detail a bit of your fishing this year on Grenville, so we can just see what the story is behind the actual run up to catching this fish of a lifetime for you.
Well, so on Grenville this season, I hadn't really done a lot. I think I'd done 6 nights up until catching that. Limited time. And it was sort of normally it's Friday afternoon late tea time before the rods are out. That's my sort of fishing then. Packing up early Sunday morning. But I'd been fishing another syndicate as well prior to that, using your Frankie mix,
Yeah.
your FermEnzyme in bags with crushed boilies and the squid. And
Oh, the crack and squid powder there, Sal, as well. Yeah. Mm.
So I've been using that, just doing quick nights on this other syndicate with real good results. It's not blowing my own trumpet, but doing real well on it. Just like as if it was just like a bit of natural food, putting these boilies in and that. And
Yeah, I
caught,
think like you say, without over egging it. I mean, it's made a relatively difficult water seem quite easy to you, hasn't it?
yeah, definitely.
Because it's no easy water, is it? That other place.
Oh no, it's thingy. You could sit there and go on every weekend, and you could do 10 nights and not have a fish
Yeah,
on
and
this.
and and like you've utilised this FermEnzyme that I'm selling. I mean, again, another bit of a plug, but I honestly do think it is an exceptional way of putting a unique food signal in the water around your rigs. You know, with your crush boilies and the Kraken squid powder that you're using, you're doing everything they're said to you and incubating it because it's an enzymatic reaction. And
That's it.
in conjunction, yeah, and I mean, and in conjunction with that Frankfurter bait, which, you know, same again, I'm plugging it a bit. It's been a real good catcher. It's only been on the market for 2 years. It's now caught the biggest fish out of 5 different waters. Not long after it's first started going into there, you know, so you at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? And that bait's caught. Like I say, I think it's caught the biggest fish now from 5 different waters, including a 60, you know, an English 60. So and then there's another lad who has bait off me on a no publicity water, and he's catching really well using the Frankie mix and the FermEnzyme, you know.
Yeah. It's just getting it right, isn't it? And believing in it.
Yeah, and it's a bit more effort. It's a bit more effort than just getting some boilies out the freezer.
That's it, yeah. That's it. You've got to do it the night before, get it all ready, crush your boilies up with it, mix it in with your liquid and that. So, and that's what I was going and it was working on that syndicate. And I've been doing I've done 6 nights up in that till Grenville. I'd had nothing at the time, but 6 nights isn't a lot.
No, but what you had got though, Matt. Sorry to interrupt you. What you had got in the run up to catching this big one is you'd got the confidence in the method, hadn't you?
Exactly. Yeah, you took the words out my mouth. You got the bait, and I got the FermEnzyme with the crush boilies in, and it's just a matter of time. When it all comes together, you realise then in your own little head, you think, yeah, that's in place, and it's all done. And that's how it was going. It was sort of on Grenville. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big location's a big factor into getting in the right swim.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
you know, because let's you know just paint a picture for people. The other water's not a big water, is it? You know, where is it? 4 acres, 5 acres?
Yeah,
yeah. So although you know that sorry,
completely different water.
Although that said, you know, small waters present their own set of challenges, don't they? I mean, you know, a small water can be very well. It is a tricky water. They can be tricky because they always know you're there, I think, and they always know they're getting fish for.
You know, you're there all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was sort of going the run up to that session. Then it was just keep doing the same what I was doing. Just keep sticking with the Frankie mix, and just fish our fish. And I got down Friday. It was about 3 o'clock, and it was one of them southwesterly, southerly, westerly. It was all changing, and it was going change as the night went on. And I looked round, and I come stand in the wind in the corner. Oh, and it was awful. And it's one of them. Do you go in this swim, or do you go on the back of it? A lot of the swims on the back of it were taken, so it was sort of just fitting in between people. And I stood there, and I thought, well, I'm here. There's a good chance there might be fish here. I'd seen nothing showing. And you think to yourself, are you mad actually standing here in it? The wind's that bad. And I thought, no, I'll stick to it and that. And I opted for this swim. Got all my tackle round. Then the wind just picked up, and just like a storm just come across as we're setting up the rain. And it's one of them. I just got for cover, got everything under the trees and everything, try cover it up. But sometimes you think, I don't know about you, but sometimes I think these sessions when things are going against you, you get soaking wet and that, sometimes you look there.
Yeah, triumph in the face of adversity, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was thinking, anyway, I found these areas where sort of know to fish to on about 16 to 18 foot of water. And so I put two rods out on there, 19.5 wraps out, and I got your Frankie mix boilies, who chopped them all up, crushed and everything, and all boilies, because that's all you can use on Grenville is boilies, which it's a good rule because you're getting good bait going in.
Mm.
And I'd spawned.
Might not always be the easiest way to catch them, like, but it's certainly good for the nutrition for the fish, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you'll know as a bait maker that they're getting proper food and what they need out of a bait.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's debatable, right? Because not all baits are that nutritional, but that's another story. You know,
Yeah,
not every a boilie isn't a boilie, is it? There can be a massive difference
yeah,
between the nutritional values of different baits, but you know, some
yeah,
lake owners decide boilies only, but
that's it.
they're not always getting what they think. I suppose it depends what bait they're getting fed. You know.
Yeah, well, I spawned a couple of kilo out over there, over the spots, and I got, which was my right hand rod then. I fished it at that was at 15 wraps. That was. It was a bit shorter. That was, and probably roughly about a kilo of boilies around that. And it just progressed from there. That night, the wind started pushing in and that, and I know a couple of the lads have been wiped out by the weed.
Oh, there's drifting weed, was there? Weed drifting around. Yeah.
But luckily, it hadn't picked me up or nothing. I was doing quite well.
Yeah.
And it all came into the Saturday day then, in the morning. It must have just picked up, not a lot of weed, just strands of it, and it was just wiping me out.
Right.
So every half an hour was recasting. And
it was totally taking you out, was it?
Yeah, it just starts pulling you round. So your lines start moving, and for you know, they're all going like to your left.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what can I do here? So I took my rods off the platform and I put them in the water, just with my alarm showing. Try to get the rod tips down, see if that'd help. And luckily, the wind started easing and it worked.
Yeah.
So what I thought then was, as I'm fishing these two rods onto this spot about 16 to 18 foot roughly, if I cast one rod more to my right, still on the spot, but it starts going down into deeper water. So it starts going down 20, 22, 23, 24 foot. So I'm thinking, if I do pick up weed, I'm wondering if that weed, just the lead grips into the slope going down. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So it won't pull it round. And anyway, the wind did ease off a bit, luckily. And I thought, oh, I'll get another couple of kilo boilies in the stick this time, because I like fishing with the throwing stick as well, see? Yeah. I just thought gives a nice spread of bait.
Well, yeah, I think we were talking about it the other day, weren't they? I mean,
yeah,
as much as people like this type baiting, and I have fished like that myself, and it is effective. I think the good thing with the stickers, like we were saying, you've got one here, one there, and if you dot them around, you can intercept fish that may not have come on a tight patch, and they pick one up, and then if there's one not too far away, if they're already browsing around, before you know it, you've got them feeding and grazing over a larger area, haven't you?
That's it, yeah. And I think, like you say, I think sometimes as well, then, they don't come, people can disagree, but I think they just they seen the bait and picking it up, and I think they drop the guard as well. That's only my opinion. And,
yeah, I think with that spreading of the bait, I think it can be a good method for intercepting, getting a lot more chance of getting a fish down on towards your hook bait.
That's it. Yeah, in certain waters, I think it does well. I do.
Mm.
Put,
Yeah,
put some out with the spom, then spread some old boilies then out in the stick, and just going on to that, a fish showed. Then it was just going dark on the Saturday night, and a fish showed on me closer in rod, on the right hand rod. So I thought that was a good sign, definitely. And the night came and went, and normally I'm packing up in the morning. I'm gone for 7:30, but this Sunday morning I got a few hours more, and I stood there, just started. It was 7:30, and I just stood there, just packing little things up and that, because I thought I'd go away 9, 10 o'clock, and I got a steady take on the middle rod. The one, what was it, the side of the bar going down just in the
right.
deeper water.
Yeah.
So I got this steady take, and so it gets me waders on, and it's just going steady, goes down to the rods, and I picked into it, and it's just like solid. It was just taking line steady, not fast, nice and steady, and it was just going up and down, and I got it so far in, and it'll lunge again. So you're talking about 10 minutes then, and I'm getting this fish maybe 20 yards out after 10 minutes. Then it's just going up and down. I thought this is a good fish. This is.
Yeah, that's when you knew, is it?
Yeah. Then it rolled a couple of times. I couldn't see the fish, and it rolled, and the splash off it. I thought this is something big. This is something decent here, and he did it for about another 10 minutes, and you can't bully the fish or anything, and you've just got sort of play the fish right. You know yourself. You know what doing that,
Yeah, you
and
know when it's a big fish, don't you?
he was up and down. It must have been 25 minutes, and I was there in the water with the net, and I got the net under it, and it was in the net. I thought, this is a big fish. This is, and so I got it in the net, cut me hook link off, and I looped down, and when you looped across, the width of it, I've never seen a fish like that.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal how big it was. It,
I mean, what you're talking. I mean, I have seen a 60 close up in the water, and to me thoughts, the one that I saw, it was a 60-pound common. It was in this country, and its head must have been. It was certainly over 10 inches wide. Its head was.
yeah, that it's more the across it. That's when you realise how big these fish are.
Yeah.
And so I got this fish, but I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah.
It was. I got that then. Paul was away, the owner, so I thought make him aware I've got a big fish in that, anyway. We sorted it out who was coming round and everything. On Grenville, you do the photos first, see, before you weigh the fish.
Yeah.
So like you do your photos, treat the fish, then treat him with all the care and everything. Or like on the hook thing, he's like wide gape on Grenville, which is good because you get no mouth damage on him.
Yeah.
And I had some photos done, and
I mean,
put it on.
I suppose though, like, I mean, this is how I've been when I've caught some big fish in the past. You sort
Yeah,
of in a bit of a daze, aren't you? When you see one that big, it's a bit of a blur, isn't it? Because it's like you just can't believe it. You can't believe the size of
yeah,
the fish.
that's it. Yeah, you think thingy, you think it's my turn.
Yeah.
You
Oh
think,
yeah.
and yeah, you realize, and then he doesn't really sink in at the time. You
No,
think,
no.
oh,
That's how
yeah,
I've been a couple of times in the past. It doesn't sink in. I mean, not fish that big. I mean, yeah, some big fish,
yeah,
but yeah, I can only imagine what it's like when you're seeing something of that size. It's unreal.
yeah. So I've got this big fish. Don't know what weight it is. So we're having the photos, and a couple of the lads says, "Yeah, it's the big, and this is and that."
So it's the biggest fish in the lake, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether there's bigger in there, maybe there's probably bigger fish could be in there.
yeah, yeah,
I think that's the big one. Like, but it's like it's a place what you don't know.
yeah.
That's how stinky it is. Somebody could catch a 70-pound fish
Mm,
tomorrow.
mm. Yeah,
But
because there's big fish in there that haven't been caught for a few years, isn't there? That are up there,
yeah, I think with this place and how Paul runs it and everything, and like his fishery management on it and that, you just don't know until a fish gets caught what how big it's going to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
think that
I think you said to me that there was fish around the 50-pound mark that haven't been out for a few years that could quite conceivably be 60 odd
yeah,
upper 60s and stuff.
that's it. Yeah, I
Just
don't.
phenomenal, isn't it? It's just
Yeah,
phenomenal to think that,
uh, yeah, I don't think you'll ever know. It's like some of these, the big scaly fish.
Yeah,
What weight they are getting caught at now?
yeah,
They're like 40 pound and that, and you're thinking they've only been in a few seasons,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and this is the thingy of it all, the beauty of it here.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the best water in the country, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, it's got to be and it's all been done right. That's the thing, Dean, and it's been done right, and like I say, I don't know of any other waters of it like with the size of the fish and how they grow.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other good waters in the country,
Oh yeah,
but I don't think there's anywhere with the amount of big fish that there is in Granville, is there?
no, that
You know,
that's the difference, isn't it?
I mean, how many fish is there in there over the 40-pound mark? There's over 100 fish in there, aren't there, over 40 pound.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on the thing. I think he has got it. Thing maybe I don't know, over 130, maybe probably more. It's
Yeah.
it's like if every fish got caught, that's the only realistic. That'd never happen. But if every fish got caught in a season, that's when you'd see what actually is in here.
Yeah, but it never happens, does it?
No, it'd never happen. Then you'd realise what actually is in here.
Yeah, yeah.
And but we got the fish on the scales, Dean, and he just went straight round on the Rubens, and he settled at £61 4.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a fish of a lifetime. It's an English 60,
Oh yeah,
and one that
that's the mo-
and one that's stocked at a small weight as well, because there is places that have got big fish in, but it's a bit
yeah,
contentious and that stocked at large weights and different things. But yeah, I mean, you can't get better than one that's been in there since it was whatever £4 or £5,
that's it.
and then you catch it
Yeah,
to £61. It's phenomenal. Isn't
yeah,
it?
and it's like it's mind blowing.
Mm.
You think you don't think this will happen to you, like, but I kept plugging away in that,
Well,
and
I mean, even though you were struggling, because I know you and I know you're a capable angler, I always knew it was just a matter of time before you just.
yeah, you've always said, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of it's just dropping in the right swim on a big water, isn't it? It's just dropping in the right swim, and I suppose people will poo-poo what I'm going to say now, but bait can make a difference. I mean, on a big water like that, location is important. But I know it's my product, but same as I say, that Frankfurter bait, it's got a hell of a lot of whey protein concentrate in it. It's got good amount of good quality, low temperature fish meal.
Yeah,
I've got these theories on branch chain amino acids, and all I can say is the proof's in the pudding with what the baits catch. That are designed in this way.
That's it.
and that's all you can say. You know, some people will say they don't think there's big fish baits or there's nothing you can do with your baits to increase the chances of catching big fish, but I'll obviously disagree with that to a degree. You know,
It's a good quality bait, and
yeah,
that's what I want. It's no good turning up with a cheap bait and not saying yeah you won't catch, but be confident of giving the fish some decent bait, and my confidence and sitting back here and thinking that. And no, it's just mind blowing, Dean. And
mm.
he didn't just stop there though. On Grenville, I went back on me other syndicate just for short sessions. You're talking a few hours here, and I caught another big fish on exactly the same setup.
Yeah,
And I think I've had 8 or 9 fish now from this other syndicate.
yeah. In
And
what? In what? About 8 trips or something, is it?
yeah,
And half of them have only been short 6-hour sessions, haven't they?
yeah, I
You know.
think I caught one. I forgot I had one the other week. Well, yeah, I had one. I don't think I've not caught, but just using the Frankie mix, exactly the same setup,
Yeah, yeah.
and it sort of
Well, that's a big thing with fishing, isn't it? Consistency, confidence in what you're using, and
yeah,
it just takes all the complications away because you can just think, well, I'm using this combination, I'm using this bait, I'm using these sticks with this augmented food signal. You can keep your rigs simple, which you probably are doing, and
yeah.
you just got a sharp hook and you put it in the right place, and it's doing the business for you.
That's it. Yeah, that's all I think. I just check the hooks every time. It's got to be 100% sharp,
Yeah,
and that'll do. I don't care, like, if I use one hook every 4-hour session, I'll change it. If it's got to be changed, I'll change it.
yeah,
As long as that 100% sharp. But no, I've had a few big fish from this other water, as you know, like, and
yeah, yeah.
it was only a dead a quick night a few weeks ago, and I spawned a couple of kilo in of the everything chops, great, just crumb them all up, old boilies, and it's a small water, and so I'm using a spom, which because the only way I'm using a spom is because I won't get the broken boilies out, the halves and that, and the splash it makes, like, it's sort of because it's only a little shallow water. Then 4 hours later, I get to take on a couple of kilo of bait and into a fish, and you think you won't believe it, the amount of disturbance I made just a few hours before,
Yeah, yeah.
and got the FermEnzyme sticks and that. So something's drawing them in. So
Yeah.
it's a combination of everything. It's the
I'm
sticks.
just going to have to pause the meeting now, Max. I'm just going to
Yeah,
get a beer out of the fridge, mate, but we'll just pick
yeah,
up where we left off. All right, buddy.
yeah.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, sorry about that, Matt. Just go get myself a beer, mate. I'm having
Right.
a few Cronenbergs tonight, mate. 1664. It's a quite nice drink. This is quite like it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just started raining here. I'm just got my bivvy door up halfway up and just trying to look out, see if I can see any fish just on through the light off the road and that.
yeah. I can hear the rain. I think hitting your bevy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just
But yeah,
started.
like you say, you know, you've been doing exceptionally well, haven't you, on the other water?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you have that big fish before you had the 60, that 37, was it?
Eh, I can't remember, to be honest, Ian.
I'm sure you caught that before you caught the 60. I'm sure you did.
Did I?
Well, you've been on a good run, haven't you?
Maybe,
You know, you've been
yeah,
on a good
maybe I've got it wrong, yeah.
yeah, you've been on a good run, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
then, yeah. Yeah. But after the 60, I still caught a few other fish.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah. And they've all been 20s, haven't they? You know.
Oh yeah,
I mean, different parts of the country, so you've had some good fish, haven't you? Some
yeah,
nice I-20s.
Yeah, the other one, the other day was over 28.
Yeah, 28 one. It's nice fish as well on a
Yeah,
short session again as well with a very quick
yeah,
bite as well.
that's it. Yeah, it's as if like the omen. Once you put that, and the thing is, I aren't just putting a few baits around it. I'm going in like a few handfuls.
Yeah, yeah.
For a short session, some people think you're putting a lot. If you counted the baits, some people might think, oh,
Well,
it's a lot of
well.
boilies.
To be honest with you, Matt, I mean, I talk to a lot of anglers, and there's still a hell of a lot of people who think 200 boilies is a lot of bait, and you've been catching over 200 boilies on a 6-hour session.
Yeah,
You know, people don't realise how it works with carp. Sometimes I'm 100% convinced of this on different waters. You need a bit of bait just to get some interest, get them even feeding in the first place. You know,
yeah.
you'll get people saying just one in the right place with a stringer is enough. But I know on some waters that I've fished that unless you're sitting over a bit of bait, then you just don't seem to be able to instigate that feeding reaction. And it sounds like a lot of bait, but it's not really. 200 baits, one big fish can eat that quite quickly.
That's it. In this day and age now, it's not a lot of bait, is it? There's a lot
No.
more fish, a lot bigger fish, and
Yeah.
it sounds a lot when you're putting it in as well, doesn't it? And
yeah, but you spread 200 baits on a piece of cardboard in front of it, and it looks absolutely nothing.
that's it, isn't it? Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head.
But
It's
I think same again. I am plugging it, but I think people are missing a trick with this FermEnzyme. It's catching fish for quite a few people. A lot of them are, the no publicity waters, and it was instrumental in the capture of another late record as well. Before you had that 60, a 52-pound English fish.
yeah,
I haven't publicised that capture, but that was the
yeah,
first time that angler used the FermEnzyme sticks. He wasn't using my boilies, but he did it. He did exactly what you were doing. Incubated it, mixed it with crushed boilie, and lo and behold, another fantastic English fish, 52-pound the first time he used it. And he had 2 fish that session, and he caught again the following week doing the same thing.
yeah. So it just shows, doesn't it, then?
Yeah.
And no, and if you believe in it and believe what you say and that, your confidence, you're on a real high. You just know. You know it's a matter of time, it'll work. It doesn't work every time, does it? Obviously.
No, but that's fishing, isn't it? That's fishing.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose it'd work every time if you went somewhere where you guarantee catch half a dozen fish a day, right? But nine times out of 10, mate. I mean, even the other water, that you're fishing, the one closer to home, it's not a guaranteed bite on there by any stretch of the imagination, is it?
No, definitely not. It's some people. You're lucky if you have a couple of fish a season on there.
And you've had eight or nine, but you've had 9 bites in
I think I've had 9, yeah.
Yeah.
And I lost one. The first one I lost. And no, it's thinking you play it right, play it with the boilies and that, and
yeah.
And no, I think definitely eye casting every time with it on. Definitely.
Mm. Yeah, so just going back to Granville then. So by the time you caught this big one, the biggest one in there, using the Frankie and the FermEnzyme, and it was your first bite on the Frankfurter out of there, wasn't it? Which is pretty incredible. How much of the Frankfurter would you say you'd actually put in that lake? Because you'd only done 6 nights, so that lake wouldn't have seen an awful lot of that bait, would it?
No, it wouldn't have seen a lot. I forget now how much bait I've had off you in that of it. So it hasn't had a lot in, not like by Grenville standards, when you think some people are fishing with 60, 70 kilo of boilies.
Jesus Christ.
But then again, I think sometimes people say, oh, any bait will catch, but I think sometimes you have got to have the right bait, a good bait. On there, and it's pulled fish in the swim and that. And obviously I've caught that fish, so it's no some people say like, oh, it's a fluke, but I can't see how when no one said it, but I've heard past thingies, it's a fluke and all this on that, but I can't
Yeah,
see
I
it
mean,
is.
you get all that kind of stuff, don't you? But I
Yeah,
mean, but let's be honest. I know for a fact that that was your 169th fish out of Granville, so it's not like
169.
it's not like you haven't caught any fish out of there.
That's it, isn't it?
You
Yeah.
know, so
I think,
it's pretty much. Be honest with you, because you haven't done an awful lot of fishing in there in the last few years, where the fish are that much bigger now. I just knew because I knew of how many fish you caught from there. I
yeah.
just got the confidence that I knew that you would eventually catch one of these big fish. I mean, I wasn't going to say that I thought you'd catch it first bite on that bait like you did, but I just knew that it was a matter of time before you just dropped good with the location, which is important on a big water. But at the same time, you know, people who say bait's not that important, well, I don't necessarily agree with that. And once you've been catching on a bait, then that's everything to you, isn't it? If someone turns around to you and says, "Yeah, you've been catching these fish using that Frankie mix, but you can't use it again," I dare say in the back of your mind, you're going to feel a little bit less. Your confidence is going to go a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that's what you want. It's sort of how can I say? If I'm going work, I know it's going to be a day, say, full of rain, and we're going rained off. I've got to make sure, because I can go fishing for a few hours. See, then
Yeah.
if I get rained off, but I've got to make sure then I've got some of the Frankie mix in the morning, put it in my van, because I wouldn't want to turn up, say, like with a bag of ready-mades. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Your confidence gone straight away.
Yeah.
So it's like you just saying someone said you couldn't use that again. Your confidence gone straight away. That's why I know. If I say, like, for instance, say Monday to give out rain, and there's a good chance I might not be working all day or thingy, and I won't go fishing. I might think 5 o'clock Monday morning, I'm going to take a kilo of boilies out, the Frankie mix. All because you've got to have that confidence in that bait. It's got to give me. It's pointless me thinking, oh, let me go buy a bag of ready-mades. I might have a few hours fishing, because you're thinking to yourself, well, what's the point? I've got no confidence in them. Not no confidence,
Yeah.
but
Confidence is a big part of fishing, isn't it?
Yeah. You like your rigs, everything, not just your bait. It's everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it all becomes one. The old picture of it.
Yeah.
And it's like yourself. I've been fishing, carp fishing. It's 30 years now. It's very close to 30 years, and you know, just I think over the past, I've caught a lot of 30s out of here over the seasons. I've had tickets, but sometimes I've been a bit unlucky. I've had a lot of 20s.
Yeah.
A lot of 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have got everything, like, it's all written down. I've got photos of all the fish and everything that I've caught from here and that. And but you can't help what fish you catch.
No,
And
especially on somewhere with a big stock of fish as well. It's a lot harder to single them big fish out.
yeah, it's sort of one season, not long ago, maybe 4 seasons ago, I think I had 10 fish in 4 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And I think off the top of my head, I think 4 were 30s and 6 were 20s.
Yeah.
Now, how can I put it? Somebody else could have had them 10 fish, and they could have been 5 30s and 5 40s.
Yeah.
It's just.
But at the same time as well, with you saying that now, I can guarantee that when people listen to that, they'll just think, well, it is an easy water. It's got to be an easy water, but it's just when it doesn't happen all the time, does it? You know, it's just when a big group of fish drops on you, And that is possible to happen on Grenville because there's a big stock of big fish. But it's not the case of you're going to be holding carp out there constantly all the time because there's a lot of blanks done on Granville, isn't there? A lot of blanks.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. And most people on here, they have the fair share of them as well.
Yeah.
There's some good anglers on here. Yeah, they do catch a lot of fish, and they're good anglers. But like you say, there's a lot of blank on here. And like I say, and it's like people think it's ashamed of, but I blank on here, and it's part of fishing. It's part
of carp fishing, mate. I mean, you know, and you can only gauge your results as well. And I always think this, especially for the normal working class angler like us, men who've got families and jobs and that, you can only gauge your results on how much time you've got available to yourself.
That's it.
So I mean, quite conceivably, like say you or me, we could go on a blanking run for 2 months, and someone could think he hasn't caught a fish for 2 months, but then you could say, well, he hasn't caught a fish in 2 weeks, and he's done more nights than I've done in 2 months.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative because you know this day and age now, there's a hell of a lot of people doing a lot of time.
Yeah, and I always think I can only fish when I can fish, probably like yourself and that. And it's like it's like an 100-mile-an-hour race for me.
Yeah,
it's like I've got to get set up because I've only got this time, so this has got to be right. That's got to be right. But I always think in my head the best times I think are Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, it's a good time to go fishing Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and I'm not like making excuses or like saying, oh, jealous because someone else can fish that time. But like you've just said, you only can go on if you were fishing Friday night. What comes out Friday night?
Exactly. And like I say, it's all relative because, like I've just said, I could do probably less nights or the same amount of nights in 2 months as somebody else who's lucky could do in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if they so you know, it's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative to you, the available time. You know, you can't go down to Granville for a few hours fishing or fish spotting or whatever. It's just too far.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
So you can only go off when you get here. You can only go off what's coming out in that day. Really, it's no good thinking, oh, he's had 10 fish on Monday or that's gone. That's 4 days away.
Yeah.
So you've got to do your own fishing, your own work, how you want to make it, how you enjoy it, and that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been fishing down the Cotswolds on water park, a lake I've never fished before, and it's days only. And I'm not beating myself up because I didn't have a bite because there's 4 lads on there who fished all the time, and they've caught 1 fish between them in the last week. You know, that's just fishing. It's just fishing. You know, so I mean, if it'd be a different story if I'd have been on there and there's been 10 fish out and I haven't had a bite, I'd be kicking myself.
Yeah,
but nobody's caught anything. So that's just part and parcel of fishing. Sometimes the conditions are bad, and the fish aren't having it properly. But even that said, even though there's only been that 1 fish out of there while I've been there, I'm still 100% convinced there would have been a way of catching him. I just couldn't work it out, you know, because they are feeding. There's always the odd fish feeding, but it's just getting the magic code to what you've got to do for catch one.
That's it, isn't it?
And you can't work it out that quick. You know, we're not magicians or anything. We just can't work it out quick enough. Because like I say, I'm never one of these who'll go, oh yeah, they weren't feeding, because I don't ever believe that on anywhere, I'll be honest with you. There's always some fish feeding, I think, somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. It's sort of, I've been on waters before, and I've got it completely wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm ready, pack up, done a night, blanked, and I'm looking and I've seen fish showing the opposite end of the water and I've got it completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's probably been there all night. The opposite end.
I mean, Yes, go on, carry on, mate. Sorry.
You just learn then, don't you? It's a learning curve.
I mean, I've done it on Trenton numerous times where I've gone on because I used to fish Sunday nights because I would generally work on a Saturday. And if I ever used to go down, I went down a few times, fished on a Saturday, and it was a waste of time because by the time I was getting there, say 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, all the swims where the fish are, they're all taken. So in the end, I just thought, right, I'll just fish Sunday nights. And it was a bit of an advantage because, like you say, Sunday nights is a good time go on.
Yeah, I think so.
But even with that, I can remember quite a few times where, because it's quite a big water, I've gone on, done the night, blanked, and on the way off, got my stuff on my barry. I found a few fish, mate, and I've took the rods off the barry, mate, and caught a couple just through seeing them after I packed up and thought, I'm not getting home now, not with these fish here. And I've took the rods off the barry, mate, just got them out, flicked a couple of rigs out, and bang, you've gone from a blank to a couple of fish under your belt within 2 hours.
Yeah, so that's good angling, really, because a lot of people would have given up. They're going home.
Yeah, I'm lucky because I work for myself. So on the way off, if I see a few fish and I'm on the way off and I think, well, whatever, I can have another couple of hours if I want to, and that's pulled me out the shit, caught a couple of fish. But like you say, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, can you?
No, that's it. But like you say, you think you got off your backside and thought, no, I'm going to, because there isn't many people who would actually do that.
Yeah,
Dean, when you actually think.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the young anglers would, but yeah, I mean, because they're a bit keener and they're younger and that. But I've even done it on Trenton, where I've done a night, blanked, and then I've got my barra packed up because I know where there'll definitely be some fish in the morning. And I've gone and walked like 600 yards round to the other side of the lake, bang, a couple of rigs out again and caught one. Done it a few times on there because it's a big water. Yeah, I've done it a few times. So it just shows you, don't it? You get out what you put in.
That's it. Yeah, that's always the same, isn't it? In the fishing, you put the effort in and you'll get the rewards.
Yeah, eventually. Problem is, I think a lot of the time, it's like with pre-baiting. I always say to people, if they're going to go down that route, when they have bait off you, I always say the problem what you'll have is if you don't get a result fast enough, you'll ditch it off and you won't do it again. I said, but that's where you're going wrong. You've got to have the conviction. I know it's money as well for the bait, but you can't give up. You can't give up. If you're on a campaign, proper baiting campaign, you can't give up because I can guarantee you, them fish will be eating that bait at some point.
That's it. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't just happen overnight, does it?
No, it doesn't. Doesn't happen quick. No.
You've got to give that bait. You've got to keep believing in it. It'll happen.
Yeah.
It's like I'm over the moon this season. I couldn't have got a better season catching that 60-pound fish than what I've had on my other syndicate.
Oh yeah, definitely. You've definitely had a good year. You've had a good year. Yeah. For a working class bloke who goes work, got a family, your fishing time's extremely limited. I mean, I dare say, mate, there's loads of people who've done more fishing in the last month than you've done all year.
Yeah, oh yeah, I could believe it. Because what do I probably do? I'm probably lucky if I do 2 nights a month.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, mate, who are doing 2 nights a week.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm never jealous of people.
No, I'm never jealous. But all I do say, though, the only reason I ever bring anything like this up is because I just say, you've got to put it into perspective with how much time you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'll always get the people who knock you though. Well, I've noticed not just with fishing, everything. If you do well, or say like you just said, yeah, I've done well just doing Friday night or working class, you'll get people who knock you. Like anything, if you're good at something else, they'll knock you because you're good at it. It's like the response I've had, Dean. It's be off the genuine people. It's like off Keith turned up with that great big photo. How he's done? Well, it's into photo. He's put it in like in a plastic, hasn't he?
Yeah, they're in acrylic. They're absolutely superb.
Yeah.
It cost some money. They would cost some money. Get them done.
So
I mean, I'm lucky as well, mate, because he's given me one for the unit, so that's got pride of place right in the middle of the wall in the unit when people come in.
Yeah, so Keith did me that, then I thought that was good. It was massive. Then I've got like a bit of a dart room, a boxing room at home, and that with a bit of material and stuff in and fishing things. So that went up in there. Then my other mate Marsh, he knocked on one night. He done me a mug with the fish on, like saying like new PB and all this. Then yourself has given me some bait. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's well appreciated. Like,
Mate, it's a massive, massive achievement catching a 60-pound English fish. It's a massive achievement.
yeah. And I've had
Even
a
in this day and age, I mean, there still ain't that many 60s in this country, mate. There ain't many at all.
That's it, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've had a couple of messages off of some of the old Flow lads, like Dave Williams, Nicky Lowe, Will Pegg, and them, and who I haven't seen, like, gosh, since I was a kid, sort of that thingy. But and they're all genuinely pleased for me, like.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, there's a few of my other mates who do a bit of fishing and that, and you know the genuine ones. You've had the
yeah,
text off them who it means something to them, like it means something to you. For me,
yeah,
catching you know the ones,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you think, yeah, not as you want people to say, "Oh, well done" and that, but
No, I mean,
y-
you don't do it for a pat on the back, like, but
no,
I'll be honest with you. Like I said to you before, because I know you anyway. Even if you weren't using my bait, I'd have been chuffed to bits for you, mate.
yeah, that's it. It's like thinking. I was lucky to get your first copy of your book, one of your first ones yesterday.
Mm.
And I think for 12 quid, what the price you're charging, I think people can't go wrong. I've read a little bit because there's a lot of reading in it, and I know a little bit about bait, probably like the average thing you like, being caught fishing for that long, but nothing like you know and other people know. But there's like picking up on things. There's things to learn, and
Yeah, yeah.
it, it's just like a privilege to have you book and that. And
Oh, yeah, it's nice of you to say that, but like I say, I mean, the thing is, Matt. I mean, I've gone through the education system, and yeah, I mean, that's another entire discussion in itself, the merits of it and all the rest of it. But I always think any knowledge what you've got about anything that you're doing in your life, not just fishing, anything, it's indispensable because you can only gain the wisdom through the knowledge, can't you?
that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
You know,
It,
so although like the book's called the Bait Anthology, so people think it's just about bait. It's not just about bait. There's a lot of stuff in there that people can learn about the carp, and the way I look at it is fishing is hunting, and if you're hunting anything, any animal, the more you know about that animal, the more chance you've got of catching it.
that's it. Like I say, I haven't read it all, but what I've read so far in that, it's interesting. It can only educate you or learn you, or there's probably something in there, not just saying it because it's your book, but there's probably something in there what'll relate to somebody in
Mm,
their caught fishing.
mm. Well, that's
The, the,
that was my hope, and that was my intention. That although, like I say, people will think, oh, it's just about bait.
no,
It's not going out me. And then I'll be honest with you, I think that's a little bit ignorant if anybody thinks that. Really, to be honest with you.
no, it's far from it. There's something in there what people will just learn off just one little thing. It might just trigger them something and think, yeah, I can remember that from years ago. Or, oh, right, I'll try that. It
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it triggered you in your head.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
hopefully, mate, it'll help people and they'll enjoy it when they're reading it. You know.
yeah, like I say, I've started reading some. I think for the money, for how much
Mm.
writing's in there, you can't go wrong. Like,
Yeah,
I know a few years ago, these magazines, I don't buy them, like, but I think they were about a fiver in that, and a lot of it is sort of repeated, sort of, how can I say it? Not knocking magazines, because I've brought them in the past, but a lot's advertisement, a
yeah,
lot's the same thing.
yeah,
But this, if not like you say, not just about bait, but there's just something in there, and you think, oh yeah, it triggers this off, and it's a good read. What I've read so far.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. I like to think that anybody that buys it, mate, will get a little bit of something from it.
I think so. I think at any age, even see, I don't fish any waters with young anglers in because, like Grenville, he only has sort of, how can I say, like, taking nothing away from young anglers, but more experienced anglers.
Yeah.
The other waters, they're older, but even the young generation, there's probably, I don't know, there's a lot of young who could actually learn a lot from your book. Like,
yeah, if they could be bothered, put the phones down, mate, and actually read a book.
it's right though, isn't it? It's very, the world's changed. What we live in now is completely different.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I mean, reading books, you know, like I was saying to you, that I'm not sure if it was earlier today when I rung you or before. I've got the analytics now for this podcast, and the most views have all been on YouTube so far because we've only done 2, and this is the 3rd one. But now I've got the analytics off Spotify. There's very, very few people listening to my podcasts under 27 years old. Very few people.
Yeah.
You know, so it just shows you, doesn't it? It's all a little bit of the Instagram, good pictures and quick snippets, and that's how it is nowadays, you know. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, mate, they're messing a trick. I mean, I know full well because I know that you're an avid collector of carp fishing books. I bet you 90% of the even keen anglers, the young anglers nowadays, I bet they don't even own one fishing book.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I bet they don't even own one book related to carp fishing whatsoever. And to me, that's like mind-boggling because that was what started me off. You know, like obviously the magazines at first, but you got your early books, your Fox Pools, your Tiger Bays, your Kevin Maddox, Carp Fever, Rod Hutchinson, A Carp Strikes Back. I mean, all them are the books what's inspired me in the early days. You know, getting them out at the library and taking them home and that and whatever, buying some of them, and you just learn loads from those books, didn't you? Just massive inspiration, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm on that level with catching, like, because I'm probably a better bait maker than I am a fisherman, but I know I'll make a good bait, and there's plenty of people can learn from that little book that I've done there. And like you said, you were the first person who said to me, you said when you looked in it, because people might look at it and think, oh, it's not very thick, although it's 33,000 words, and you said, oh, if you'd have made the font a bit bigger, that'd have been twice the size, sort of thing. And I thought when you said it, I thought, yeah, he's probably got a point there. But at the end of the day, once people open it up and look at it, they'll see that it's not packed out with pictures. A lot of it, there is plenty of pictures in it and illustrations, but there's a lot of text there, isn't there? There's a lot of text.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things. It's sort of just going through your chapters of it and that. There's a lot of words on the page. So it's like you can pick up another book and it could be 2 pages long where yours is all in 1 page.
Yeah, like you say, it's just the font size how I did it, but it's a lesson learned. It's a lesson learned for maybe another book in the future that I might end up writing, which probably will, to be honest with you, because like I said to you, this one's just a bit of a taster, like testing the water sort of thing. But there's 50% material in that book that I'm selling now that's all new stuff, and probably 90% of people wouldn't have seen the other 50% because it was just some that was published as articles, and you can't get the magazines anymore, so they'll never be able to access that material unless they publish it in a book, you know.
That's it, isn't it? And it's sort of just talking about books and that. It's like going back. I can remember before the media, social media, and everything. Like I used to live, say, like a new book coming out, say, like a Jim Shalley book.
Yeah.
Wanting it straight away or whatever, and I think maybe it all might turn around and come back in again. So like, the book will kick in because I say more at the minute. I probably it's more our generation and older who actually buy books, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think
I don't know.
There's a lot of books knocking around now because it seems like a lot of people are writing carp fishing books. But like you say, I think a lot of it with the younger generation, I don't know, maybe it's the attention span thing, and they can't even just sit down and read a book for half an hour. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, it could be, yeah. And it's like I used to have a big collection of Carp books, and obviously, like you knew when my missus was ill and that, and
Mm.
I thought to myself, I had to select which Carp books I want to keep because I thought this is a time I thought I don't know if she's going live or anything like it. I thought I need to sell what I can thingy. And I sold quite a lot. I think I've probably got about 12 books left. And people helped me out, to be honest. I think a few people brought them off me. Just help me out if you understand me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't sell them like some of them were at expensive prices. I just giving them a good thingy. But your book now, because I haven't brought a book for years, sort of got me inspired again about books and the reading of it.
Mm. Yeah,
Sort
yeah,
of.
yeah. I mean, I've got a bookcase here right in front of me, mate, and it's full of Carp books. There's I mean, they're not just there's a few science books there and whatever, but yeah, there's quite a few books there when I look at it, mate. What I've collected over the years. Mm.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think always with a book, not just yours, any Carp book, you can always pick it up and
Yeah,
you can always learn something and trigger something, can't it?
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I reckon out of all the books that I've got, I reckon the ones that I've read the most, it'll be the Terry Ian books. You know, there's just something about
Yeah.
his writing style, and he's fairly unassuming. And I mean, he has great any Terry Ian. I mean, he has one of my favourites.
I think he's more of a genuine Carp angler.
Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah,
sticks to what he knows. And he just sort of doesn't switch, doesn't go to this, go to that, and it's more
oh
and
yeah, it's like his bait association, isn't it? I mean, he's been with Dynamite Baits from day one. You know, well, I think he had a little association with Nash, but once Dynamite Baits kicked in because he started him off, he's never switched, has he? So that's 20 odd years.
that's it. I think ESP as well, and he's
Yeah,
was it,
ESP. Yeah, yeah, he's been with them a long time. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and he's sort of thing. That's someone genuine that is as well.
yeah, yeah,
But it's like these podcasts. I've never really sort of listened to him, but now I'm getting more into and listening, like because I drive a lot away for work and stuff and that, and I find quite interesting the people who I've never heard of listening to
yeah, yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah,
I find it. I suppose I don't know. People could relate to me. They've never heard of me. They don't know who I am,
yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah,
so it's more. How can I say? So I listen to some of these people who on there, and they sort of very similar to me. They go work and they fish certain times, and it's quite interesting because it relates to yourself then.
yeah, yeah. Makes it all more realistic, doesn't it?
Realistic, yeah, exactly. It's not like I've just been on there for 3 nights. I'm just going home for a couple of nights, and I'm going back another water now for 3 nights.
Exactly. I mean, who normal blokes who's got the luxury of doing that, mate?
That's it, isn't it? Yeah,
It just isn't happening, is it?
that's it. It's like now I'm thinking I can't fish next weekend because we're going away. The weekend after I can't fish, and I'm thinking I can't. The weekend after that, it's our youngun's birthday, and it's like when am I going to go next?
Mm.
It,
Yeah.
it's
You never know.
so
You might be able to sneak a few hours in on your closer water.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm hoping, yeah,
Mm.
because it's like I use Grenville. I can't come down here all the time, but when I come down, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's got everything what I want in me fishing, but I'm still. It's like when I fish the other water, I do a night, and I'm sort of. I think, gosh, I'm nearly 44, and I'm carrying all my gear, no Barry.
Yeah, yeah.
I still think I'm 20. Fill up a big bag and on my rucksack,
Yeah.
fill it full up, bed chair under one hand, the rods in the other, and I can just walk and walk with it. And it's pretty much, to be honest, it's on Granville. I don't bring a lot of stuff with me. It's sort of, it's like I've put a ground sheet in for tonight, which normally I wouldn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
And well, one day I suppose it'll catch up with me.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Not getting any younger. I think if I go back on Trenton, mate, I'm gonna have to get one of them power barras, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was talking to Keith about one of them on his syndicate actually.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
He just told me,
Supposed to be a godsend, then, mate. So, I
yeah,
mean, with my knee, how it is.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't mind go back on Trenton. I mean, I've got my Pride ticket now, and I've only done. I think I've done 15 nights this year, and what are we? Nearly coming up to Christmas, so I ain't done a lot of time. But you know, if I get lucky up there in the next couple of years, up Pride and manage to get one of the big ones, then don't think I'll drop the ticket, but I think I might rejoin Trenton because although I did
yeah,
reasonably well on Trenton, there's a lot of nice fish in there that I didn't catch.
yeah.
And they're not massive, but they don't get caught very often. And it's a special water to me, Trenton is. I love the place. Like,
That's it. Yeah, it's thinking. Really, I know because my time's limited, but it's right on my doorstep, and I think I should. Oh, I should have a ticket for there. Do you get me?
yeah, you'd enjoy it. Well, you fished it, didn't you, in the early days? But
Yeah,
he's
nice
changed a lot,
people.
mate. He's changed a lot. I mean, there's fish in there now. They're 30-pounders. I caught 30 years ago at £4, and I've got pictures of them. And it'd be nice to meet up with some of them again. Well, I probably have done ones I didn't take pictures of and stuff. But I've
Yeah,
got pictures of certain ones, and I think, oh, it'd be nice to catch that now. Now it's a 30 and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just a nice place, and there's not many places you can go now with fish of that age because they're all fish. Then they were
that's
stocked
it.
in, stocked in the 80s, mate, mid 80s. They're all fish now, but
Yeah,
because they're not pressured, they don't get caught that much. Hopefully, mate, they've still got another 10 years in them at least. I reckon. Hopefully.
that's it. Yeah, and like you say, some nice fish in there. I bet there's some good anglers who fish it as well.
Mm.
And that,
Yeah,
and
there's. I mean, yeah, there's. I don't know how busy it is these days. I think it's quite busy at the moment. But that said, it's 70 acres, so it's never ram. You never struggle to get a swim, mate. But getting on the fish is a bit of a different story.
vintage, yeah.
Mm, mm.
But yeah, that's what brings us all to the fishing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
Fishing
yeah.
and the beauty. Everyone's each to their own. What sort of water they want fishing there,
Mm.
and
Just getting pause again there, Max. I'm just going to get my last beer out the fridge, mate, before we end up finishing this meeting.
yeah,
All right, mate.
okay, mate. Yeah,
Oh, that's better, Matt. Just got my last beer out the fridge, mate. But
all
you never
right.
know. You never know, mate. The night is young. I might end up getting shot. Get myself a couple more beers tonight. I mean, I've got to go work tomorrow, mate. But yeah, I might go get a few more beers and
Yeah. I was
chill out
going
a
to say,
bit tonight.
you've got quite a lot of orders, haven't you, for bait?
I was busy, mate. Yeah, it went really busy. September, October, and now running into November. I'm just clearing up the last work now. There's still bits coming in, but not an awful lot. This is when it starts getting quiet now. So, but you never
Yeah,
know, mate. I think I'm gonna have. I might have a Black Friday sale. I think next Friday for a couple of days.
yeah,
See if that brings a bit of work in.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's an hard game in the winter, mate. The bait game is, but yeah,
That's it. Isn't it?
it's
Yeah,
the long winters, mate. The long winters. Mm.
yeah. And I suppose come December, people are spending money Christmas, other things, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. But like I say, I think I might have a Black Friday sale. I think I'll. So that's yeah. I mean, I'm going to try and get this podcast live. So there you go. This is a bit of an advert. I'm going to be having a Black Friday sale next week, folks. So keep an eye out for it, and you never know, you might get yourself a bit of a bargain, bit of bait,
Mm,
bit of money knocked off. So yeah,
yeah,
I think I'll get that advertised. I think on Instagram, Black Friday sale. I think for next Friday, mate.
yeah. I tell you what, the sky's clearing up here. So, and sometimes I know the temperature drops, but I always do well, Dean, when the temperature drops. You know,
On there.
well, anywhere really.
Mm.
I've I've never been phased by. Sometimes I think to myself, I know we all say it, and some days you'll get like, say, like a mild night in winter, it's like 10, 11 degrees, and you think, oh, brilliant conditions. But sometimes I've been on waters where like -1, -2, and I've caught, and not
Yeah.
just once, a few times it's happened.
Yeah, well, you had that good winter on Wedgewood, didn't you? And it was a pretty bad winter that year, and you caught
Oh,
loads, didn't you?
oh, that was phenomenal. I had 5 fish in the snow, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and I I've got I've got the photos. I'd have to count up, and it's silly, Dean, what the conditions what I was catching on
yeah,
in there. You wouldn't. I can remember once, and I went down first light 7:30. We weren't
yeah,
going work because it was 1 degrees, but the wind, it must have been -5, -6, the wind
yeah,
chill.
yeah, yeah.
And it was Kev Parker, you know Kev, don't you?
Yeah, no, Kev, yeah, yeah.
And he come down to me at 7:30. He says, "I was wondering who this was setting up. So I'm only doing a few hours." He says, "You must be mad." He says, "I'm going nip home. I'll come back," because he lived up late, and "I'll come back,"
That's
he
it.
said. "I'll be back within an hour." And in an hour, I'd had 3 fish,
You're joking.
honestly. And in these conditions, you'll know as a carp angler, and the other people listening will know. And if you stood there for 10 minutes, your face was bright red because of the
Oh
wind
yeah,
was up.
yeah.
And I had a lot of fish
Was that
out of
you?
there.
Were you using? You were using massive green pop-ups, weren't you?
Big root baits, yeah, great big uns, hand rolled they were, big yellow ones.
Oh, Yalla, yeah.
They're like yellowy green
Were they
like.
pop-ups like, or
No, bottom baits.
yeah, yeah.
There, there was some pop-ups I made, but I was weighing them down with a shot on the air.
Oh right, okay.
And there, there was it was when I was a bit more daring, if you could say what I mean. Like it was, it's something probably I don't know. I did it in the early 90s. I did it then. It weird. I didn't catch them all like that, but I caught a lot like that. And as I'm catching, this wasn't just happening like one day. 2 days later, would be the same with them. Can't work because of the conditions and everything. They're going on again, and it was unreal, unreal.
We
But what
put
I was
what were you putting in those hook baits then, Matt?
so it was just a semolina from a 50/50, sorry, from Quality Baits,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was just making them up with the flavour. What I was using pineapple, and I made some up of oh, is it anchovy? Is that how you say it?
Anchovy, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that, and then I was using the dye, the Quality Baits dye, all from Quality Baits. Like I was
So,
having
oh
fun.
yeah, so you're using their pineapple flavour, were you?
Yeah,
And
and
what were you
it was
using, like an anchovy extract, like a liquid food
just
sort of thing?
not just the flavour. So
Oh, anchovy flavour, yeah,
yeah, not together with the pineapple.
yeah,
These were
different
separate.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, but like, because I've made bait in the 90s and the odd time, like, so I knew what I was doing, but I don't know what I'm doing if in your scale, if you get me.
Hey,
But
you know what you're doing if you're catching fish, mate. Trust me. Oh,
I knew what, I knew what I could get by, and some of them, this I made some smaller ones, about 16 mils.
mm.
They were barrels, so they probably about 18 mils barrels, and I was using a pink flavour on this one, but I didn't know I was putting the anchovy flavour in, and it was dyeing them brown.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sounds
I,
like it
I,
was more of an anchovy extract that does than a flavour.
yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like it if it was making the bait
yeah,
go brown. Yeah,
yeah. It was making the bait go brown because I thought, oh no, I'd knocked up all this, and I thought the fluoro dye had outpowered it, see, which it didn't.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
It sounds like a anchovy extract that does. Yeah, you can get them.
yeah,
Yeah, and it'll be a brownie color. Yeah, it sounds more like a liquid food type thing that does.
yeah. But the thing was, I tried them and I caught. And some people think, oh yeah, after Wedgwood, I ditched it all. Do you get me? And
Yeah, yeah.
people might think, well, why don't you do it today now and that? But I don't want to do it now. That was back then. it's like a different era. I've moved on, and I think. But
Yeah.
another thing I was doing, and was something different. The bites I was getting weren't takes. So what I did,
Yeah, I
what I
remember you
found,
saying this. I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
the rod's up in the air. I don't know
Yeah.
if I've told you.
Yeah. 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 It was like quiver tipping for them. You're just
Yeah.
getting a little plink on your rod tip.
Yeah. So I put my rods up in the air, and this is the God's honest truth, right? I fished them. They were shooting up, and I was getting like a little. The bobbin would just go to the top, and a little twitch on the tip. And if you didn't know, you didn't know you got a bite. And I
Yeah.
just struck into the fish, just pulled into the fish. And I think what they were doing, Dean, they were picking it up, and they just stayed there.
Not moving. Yeah. Not moving because it's that cold.
Yeah, but what made me laugh, and I won't name him, a few people walked round because it was real bad conditions. I'm not just saying, oh yeah, I've done
Oh
well.
no,
And
I can remember that winter, mate. It was a fucking bad winter. It was a
yeah,
bad winter that year was.
I've got the photos in the snow. I've got one photo with this sleet, and you can see the sleet on the camera coming.
Yeah.
And it's just the good memories, but I won't name this one angle. And he walked round, and he hardly chatted to me. Like, I don't know, it's probably because my face don't fit on there. And I had to laugh. It must have been the week after. I saw him fishing with his rods in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're thinking, yeah, you're copying what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought,
I tell you what, though, mate, just going back to what you're saying there, I can
yeah,
remember fishing Biddulph Grange a few times, and it'd been about 96. Yeah, it was about 96. And we went up, like, we did a few sessions because you could fish it on the day ticket. And once it got to like November, I can remember going on there, mate, and we were catching a few, and all you were getting was one beep, and you think, oh, I've just had a liner or whatever. But then you'd get like another single bleep 5 minutes later, and you pick your rod up, mate, and you got a fish on. And I bet you any money they were just sitting there with the hook bait stuck in the mouth all that time.
yeah, yeah. It's very surprising. Sometimes you can miss that.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
if you're asleep in your bivvy,
Yeah,
on your bed chair in winter, and you're getting a single beep, there ain't many people who's getting up for see if they've got one on.
that's it, isn't it? And I think, like you say, yeah, and maybe myself, you wouldn't get up in that. And sometimes I think you've got a fish on, and I think they can get rid of the hook as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah.
And it's a few little different things I've done over the year, and I think that was a big thing on Wedgwood with the tip's eye, and it was just, I don't know, you just know when you're on a water
I mean,
what you do.
what made you start doing that, like with the tips up in the air?
Because what it was, I think at the time a few people were backleading it,
Yeah.
and I wasn't. What I used to do, I used to put my rod tips in the water.
Mm.
Like, but then I could never see the rod knocking or anything like that. But what it was that winter was, my rods were just fishing normal out, and I had one bleep, and the line tightened up,
Yeah.
and it was a fish on. So I thought to myself that, oh, sorry, another day then, same happened again. But you got to you've got to watch the rod then. So I thought, I wonder if I put the rod tips up in the air, that it'd make a difference, and it did, because you could see the rod just bending
Yeah,
slightly.
just quiver, yeah. Yeah, it's
exactly like quiver tipping.
totally unconventional, but massively effective for you.
Yeah, and it worked.
Mm.
And it's just little things like that, or something different you do on other waters, your own thing, and it works. And
I think people would be amazed at how many times your rigs get picked up and you don't know about it.
yeah, some days I think I've not caught in that, and I think I've been picked up, definitely.
Yeah. I can remember once, mate, on the Lido, when I fished the Lido, because I fished it in 2005, didn't I, for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I did a night on there once, and it ended up turning into a bit of a social. And I always used to use backleads on the Lido. I did use backleads all the time, and I caught all right on there. And I can remember one night we had this social, and in the morning, it was a bit worse for wear, like. I can remember I had 2 bleeps on my rod, two bleeps. I got this backlead on. Then I had another bleep, and I thought, am I in here or what? Because it bleeps again. I thought something's going on here on the end of it. And I'm not joking, you know, it didn't move at all. My rod tip didn't or anything. And I had another bleep and I picked up into it on a similar vein, and bang, I'd got an 18-pounder on the end of it. I mean, that's like a bit of the bat lead injury in the indication. But it just shows you that them single bleeps, I bet that fish had been rigged up on that for half an hour, mate, before I even picked the rod up.
Yeah.
And it hadn't ran off or nothing. I just picked up and I was in. Bang, 18-pound.
Yeah. It's thingy. It's with the backlead as well. I've had it a few times, Dean. Something, the indication.
Yeah, it can hinder the indication massively, yeah. But all people do, they just think back to themselves, well, 90% of the time I get a screamer, but how many times are they missing a bite?
Missing a bite? Loads of times.
Yeah, I think you are. But at the same time, on some waters, I think it is handy having a backlead on. I think it does help you forget the bite.
That's it. That's it, yeah. You've hit the nail on the head there. Sometimes you've got to have a backlead on, forget that line out the way.
Yeah.
Hook. But just going back to your bite indication, I've had it a few times where 30 yards away, I've picked up a couple of bleeps, and the fish is 30 yards from
away from where your rig was, yeah? Kited.
Yeah. And you think, and it's crazy, and it isn't just us. It's happened to a few other people.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's like slat lines. It's like slat lines. I mean, I do fish relatively slat lines sometimes, but I always think to myself, how many times have the game picked up on these people who fish slat lines? I mean, I know some people who fish slat lines when they're fishing over like 70 yards, and I just think you could be missing bites all the time at 70 yards with a slat line.
Yeah.
You know, there's no tension in your line whatsoever. The bobbins are on the floor. And I just think to myself, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard for do for the best, but I think you'd be amazed how many times your rigs get picked up and you don't know about it.
I've always used semi-tight line. The bobbins are sort of quite high up.
Yeah.
Like even majority of me fishing here, sort of, I've always been like that. I've never been a key fan of slack lines, like you just say, 70 yards.
The only time I'll use my line, leave me line, proper slack, as if I'm fishing right in the margins under my feet.
Yeah.
And then I might do it. I might do it then because I just think to myself, well, like we said at the start of the podcast, a line cutting up straight through the water like that, it's got to do something. It's got to put them on edge or whatever, you know.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
But then again, mate, I can remember when I fished foxholes in Northampton. There was a lad on there who caught well. He did catch well. He didn't catch nothing the night I caught the big ghosty out of there, like, but he had caught it a couple of weeks before. And I was talking to him, and he was fishing not very far out, 10 yards out. And he was fishing like you were, with his rod tips right in the air, and his line was bowstring tight to his rig, mate. And none of his leader or nothing would have been on the deck, and he was catching, mate. It just shows you, doesn't it? It just shows you sometimes being a bit different or whatever.
Yeah,
it can make all that difference.
Yeah, and you've got to believe in it as well when you're doing it, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's hard to believe in anything until it works.
Until it works, yeah. Because I've done some other things before, and I haven't given it enough time because I haven't got the confidence in doing it.
Yeah.
So I've done it. Then I've reeled in after an hour because I can't get my head around it. How I'm doing.
Yeah. You've you've just gone on for you've done a bit of an experiment, and then you've thought, no, that can't work. That won't work.
And it's certain things like it's certain waters and it's sort you know when you're own fishing, like I fished other waters and I know where cast to. If everyone and you think like sometimes you think everyone said, "Oh, the fish, you've got to be there." And I think, no, well, I'm not going fish there. I'm going to find somewhere away from it.
Yeah.
And get them from there.
Yeah.
And it works, but it's hard to explain until you actually do it.
Yeah.
In your own mind and your own fishing and one of them just on about the Lido was the damn wall
Yeah.
catching literally probably 6 foot off the damn wall.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the. You're probably where were you there? Just at the back of all them bricks, because there's all bricks on the bottom there, aren't there?
Bricks, yeah, all bricks, stones, like rocks, whatever. Yeah. And so I was fishing it from the what I call the field side, like the Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And it's just something you're thinking to yourself, you could easily reel in after an hour or so and think it's not right, this isn't. But you'd have had 2 fish like that.
Yeah.
And it's just other things what I think other people won't do. Not saying like you might do it or somebody else might do, but I think the thing is, the majority of people won't do it. So I just try to be a bit different.
Yeah,
I think I'm different.
It pays off, mate. I mean, I can remember the same again on that Northampton water, how I was fishing on there and how I caught all the fish. It was nothing like how anybody else would be fishing. I was using light leads, 1 ounce, 1 ounce and a half, helicopter rigs with the bead right the way back up the leader. And the takes what I was getting were like, you could tell the fish were just totally confused when they picked the rig up because they weren't running off. It was just your bobbing, it was just dancing up and down. And the hook were superb. They were all nailed.
That's it, yeah.
It was just totally different than what anybody else would be doing.
Yeah, just something different, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean that ghosty what I caught out of there, 33. That was the hardest fish in the lake catch, and that was the first one what I caught on that setup. And I just thought, this is obviously working on here, and that's how I ended up catching most of them out of there. In that period, 2011, 2012, fishing it every now and again as an holiday angler. It was always on that setup. And it's totally different with that light lead, because the way I looked at it is, well, what's the easiest way of these fish getting rid of your rig? An heavy lead, because they can use the weight of the lead. You won't get an indication against the rig. So I thought, right, if I put fishing for £30 fish, so I thought if I put an ounce lead on or an ounce and a half, when they feel that hook in the mouth, they'll probably think, oh, I can move a bit here because of the lead. Because on 90% of everyone's setups, they want to give them an indication. But on mine, mate, it just started bleeping, going up and down, because they were moving the lead. See, they couldn't not move the lead because it was too light.
Yeah. So what ounce lead were you using?
Ounce and a half.
Funny, interesting. You said that, right? Well, these fish I've been catching.
Yeah, from the other place, yeah.
I've been using all the fish are probably it isn't even an ounce lead I'm using.
Yeah, that's one of the big edges for you, I reckon, mate.
Keith made me up years ago when he used to make leads. He made me a load up.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people think, well,
you need a big lead for set the hook in.
The hook in.
Yeah, no.
And so and these fish what I've been catching, all I do, I just pull into the fish. So I'm not, even though it's a light lead, I'm not thinking I've got lift into this and set the hook. I just lift in the root.
Yeah, I can remember, mate. I can remember the fit. It's not the fit. I used to use light leads all the time on the burley when I was fishing in the margins, an ounce lead. But I could see the fish there as well, sort of thing. But I can remember when I went down Home Pool, Cotswolds, the first time I went down there, and I had that big fully scaled out of there, and I had it on an ounce lead, and Foster was with me, And like he looked at me rig after and he goes, Jesus Christ, how's that fish got hooked? And I said, you don't need an heavy lead for hook a fish. He said, you need a sharp hook. I says, you need a sharp hook. And I says, the tension of the line and the water is enough for the hook prick home. And I've caught quite a lot of fish over the years on ounce and a half leads.
Yeah. That's all. Lucky, do you know, if it's an ounce, these leads.
I reckon that's probably another factor why you're getting them, mate, as well, because it's totally different than what everyone else is doing.
It's a combination of everything.
And
because, like, I thought to myself, because it was the first time I had to buy leads a couple of years ago, because Keith used to make them. So I used to get lead, so I never had to buy a lead for about 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
And he doesn't make them no more. And it was the first time 2 years ago I had to buy some leads. And it used to be great. I used to say to him, so he'd make me leads up for Grenville only. So he'd match the colour to the lake bed.
Yeah.
It was good then. So he made me these little ones for that other water. And it was like, I want them this colour. But obviously now, the last ones I had off a bloke, Rob Campbell, made me some up. But obviously now I haven't got that sort of privilege where, can you make me, I want this colour doing.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a lake. But whether that makes a difference anyway,
well,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, must admit, I'm not massive on camouflage. Like, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I'm not 100% convinced it makes much difference because I think if they were that clever, I don't think we'd ever catch them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I might be wrong. That's just my way of thinking. I just think, because like I'll hear lads say, I need such and such size pop up, and I go, well, aren't they buoyant enough for you? And they go, oh yeah, they're buoyant enough, but what about the hook? You can see the hook underneath it, and I'll just say, well, the day when a carp knows what an hook is the day we stop catching them. Like,
yeah,
that's how I look at it. I might be wrong. That's just my perspective on it, because I do think they're not as stupid as what you think, but I think some people think they're cleverer than what they are.
That's it. Yeah, you're right there.
But yeah, I mean, we never used to camouflage anything in the 90s, mate. We used to catch plenty of fish.
That's it. And I've gone through phases. I've bought marker pens and camouflage, yes, or like on the lead clip setup, I'll use all different colours, so not one colour. And it's just my own.
No, I mean, I might be being a little bit blasé about it, but I don't know, mate. I always just cast my mind back to when I used to use uncoated leads and stuff, and I used to use leads what were black on like clay bottoms and stuff like that. And I just think, well, I used to catch them then.
Yeah.
I mean, they can see things because I'm 100% convinced that if a carp looks at that, it'll know it's a different colour than the bottom. But I'm not 100% convinced that they know what it is or it alarms them in any way.
Yeah. I know what would be interesting. Do you think a carp ever picks a lead up?
Yeah, I reckon they do now and again. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot more of these times when people get a take and there's nothing on the end isn't picking a lead up.
Yeah, sucking it in.
Yeah, because you've got to remember as well, sort of like with your textured leads and stuff, you go and get remnants of amino acids on it off your fingers when you've touched it.
Yeah.
So they might pick that up because there's a bit of a food signal coming off it. It's all conjecture, isn't it? But I mean, everybody every now and again will have an occurrence where they'll get a ripper and it isn't off a trailer. And you'll think, Jesus, what's happened there?
What's happened there? You pick it up and there's nothing there.
Nothing there. How many times has that happened to you over the years? It's happened to me a fair few times.
Times, yeah.
And it isn't a trailer, like, it isn't a trailer because, but yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on underwater, mate, that we're not really 100% sure about.
Because I've always thought that, and it would just be interesting just see what you think. Because
I
did get. Go on, carry on.
I can remember one of the lads, mate, who used to have bait off me. He did an experiment, mate, of using these lads, these bright coloured lads, red lads and stuff, and yellow lads and that, and he caught fish. He still caught fish.
Yeah, I think Terry Ian did it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did actually. I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I went through a phase, and now I don't know if it made any difference because it's hard to think. But I was using the texture leads, like you just said, on about amino acids. But
Soaking him. Were you soaking him, were you?
I was putting the old leads in the tub in the CC. Yeah. And
soaking him in liquids.
Yeah, and liquids. Yeah, whether you can't say whether it made any difference.
No,
I can't.
I can remember. I can remember reading the magazine article. Frank Warwick. I think it was when he fished the mangrove, and he was putting his boilie paste around his lads and cooking the boilie paste, so his lad was like a boilie.
Yeah, to draw him in.
And he was catching. Yeah, he was catching doing that. Yeah. But I was thinking, like we just said, I was thinking, Jesus Christ, how many times is he getting his lad picked up there?
That's it, isn't it? And the more you think of it, like it's different things, and you think, yeah, like you just said, like how many takes you've had and picked up, and there's nothing there, which it's not just it's a proper take you're having, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I've had that happen a few times. Yeah,
I have over the years, and I can remember going back to the overflow. I think I had it 3 times within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking now, and the proper takes, the rod all round, come out, and I'm thinking now, was it the lead they're sucking in?
Yeah, sucking the lead in, yeah. Whatever. I mean, who knows, mate? Who knows?
Yeah. And I used to go through a phase as well. I used to, say like a braided hook length I'm using, a certain one, like absorbs water so it's heavy. I used to soak that in amino acid as well.
Yeah, and the liquids, yeah.
Yeah, put it in the liquids and that, yeah, like whatever liquid it was, and just different things. It's whether you think
it's just different things that you try, and every now and again, see if you can get a bit of an edge with it.
Yeah, you're learning all the time, or you see other people doing certain things, and maybe you sort of take note, or
yeah.
But another thing on Wedgwood, just going back to Wedgwood once, and I had a pink pop-up on once, and I've been doing well, and I thought I don't know how many fish I'd had that winter then so far, but I thought I'd try. I made some pink pop-ups they were with the Quality Baits pop-up mix.
Yeah.
And somebody on there knew, like, I'd been doing well and that. Didn't know what thingy. And they saw this, like, pinky purple pop-up, which I hadn't caught a fish on, like. And I had to laugh. I saw them again with these, like, they must have brought some what resembled mine. And they got them on.
Yeah.
Because they'd seen mine, this one. Well, I think I moved it. I must have moved swims.
Yeah, and you got your rod, you got your ring, you got your rod hanging from your ring. Yeah.
And I had to laugh, and I think it was Keith who were told about, and he just made me laugh at the time.
Yeah.
I know for some people, I'm not knocking people like, but maybe we do it ourselves and that. But I think that they thought I was catching on there, and it wasn't. I was just trying it.
Yeah.
And it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, the thing is, that's how a lot of people do the fishing, isn't it? They just find out who's catching it. They just find out who's catching on what they're doing, and then they just start doing that themselves. And it works, doesn't it, to a degree? That's how bait companies sell bait, isn't it? Through word of mouth, someone's catching on whatever, and start using a bit of that, and they start catching, and before you know it, everyone on the lake's on it, aren't they?
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been one of sort of just stuck on my own thing, if you get me, like what.
Yeah.
I aren't influenced by, I don't know what you want to call them, trends or.
Yeah.
I speak to myself. I'll listen to advice, off people, then I make my own mind up what I believe, and you understand me, don't you? And
Yeah, no, exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I've always
I just
been very similar myself. Like, just do
I won't
your own thing.
I won't just jump on the bandwagon because
Yeah,
he said
yeah,
they catching that, or oh, you can't use that because this and that. I'll make my own mind up and
yeah,
suss it all out and everything, and long as you go and enjoy it, that's the main thing. I think this is a lot of the modern day carp fishing, Dean. A lot of us like what you say older people like. Well, I won't think, but I had to laugh at work when these lads 20 says that old lad carrier up there, and he's on about me. I thought I'm
yeah,
young. But I had to laugh, and
yeah,
so like people our generation, and it's sort of you just take you know what to believe and what to do your own fishing, don't you? And go and
yeah,
enjoy it. And that's what it's all about now, isn't it? You go
yeah.
enjoy, don't you?
Well, that's what it's always been about, mate. For me, you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? You've got to enjoy it. Mm.
Even I've never lost the buzz from it. Some days, yeah, I aren't as keen as like say 10 years ago. I could, do you know what I mean? A thunderstorm wouldn't bother me. I could bait up in the thunderstorm now. I think, oh, I'll wait till that passes, or
Yeah, yeah.
and that. But I go enjoy it, and if you aren't enjoying it, and it's a funny thing, carp fishing. And I suppose everyone's thingy, but I think people you always learn off someone else. You learn things off different people and
Yeah, you
that,
do.
and
You always pick bits and bobs up off other people, and suppose they pick bits and bobs up off you, don't they?
yeah, it might just not be. It could be just. I know it sounds daft, but how you set your bivvy up, or couldn't it? Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
anything. Yeah, yeah. Well, on the last session, it's like how I break my rods down. I had a problem. I got my hook stuck in my sleeve, my rod sleeve, and my mate
Yeah,
says to me, "Why don't you put it that way when you break it down?" And when he said it, I thought, "Yeah, that's so simple, but that'll never happen again because the hook will be at the other end." You know what I mean? It's just how I'd done it for years, and I thought I'd never had that happen before, where the hook had got stuck in, and it got stuck in, and I broke it down the other way. So now the hook's next to me reel, so it'll never get caught up. Just simple
that's it.
things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so just like you say, simple things. And
Yeah.
remember what it was? I picked something up not long ago or something. I can't just think off the top of my head. I thought all these years, and I can't think now. And I think, well, do you know what I mean? It was something silly and simple. I thought all these years, why haven't I thought of that?
Yeah, yeah,
Can't think the top of my head, but and it's just like now I do. I look back on my fishing like, and I've enjoyed it. Like people who watch football or play football and that. I look at my fishing. I like my photos. That's just me. I like taking photos, and I just enjoy thingy of it now.
yeah.
Like more, no matter what I catch, like can go another water and catch a £10 fish, and it's still as much respect as any other size
Oh
fish. And
yeah,
then
yeah. Definitely. There's a bit of that what gets lost, and we're all guilty of it at certain stages where you on somewhere where you're after a big and then you catch a 16 pounder and you're like, you know, what have I caught that like or whatever, you know what I mean? But
that's it.
yeah, you should always give all the fish a bit of respect because that 16 pounder might be a 46 pounder in 10 years or whatever, you know. So
That's it, isn't it? I've been before and think, oh, I've had 820s. Why haven't I had anything bigger? Then you're thinking,
yeah,
well, I don't think it. Do you know what I mean? They're your big fish anyway, just because they're £20 or.
yeah, yeah,
And it's now like I play a lot of darts at home. I go on the punch bag and that, but I can go chill out there. And I've made it. I've got a few like not many. It's only probably about that 60s in there. That one Keith did me in that, and there's a couple on slate of like I've had done on slate and that. Hey up, mate. Can I just end it there, Dean?
yeah. That's fine, Matt. You
I've just
you
got
you
something
cut
to
off,
do.
mate, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Obviously, someone's caught a fish or something. Thanks a lot for coming on, Matt, and we'll catch up another time, buddy. All right, pal.
Mate, try,
Bye,
mate.
Well, there we go. That's the beauty of doing it live from the bank, folks. Obviously, one of Matt's neighbouring anglers there has come around too. Sounds like they caught a fish, but I hope people have enjoyed that one. Got Matt on talk about the big fish Odyssey, the road to catching an English 60, and another plug now for the book, the bait anthology, which I've written, 33,000 word book. It's available from Scientific Baits. Just Google Scientific Baits, www.scientificbaits.co.uk, for the reasonable price of £12. And I'll just thank everybody for listening. And that's the end of the podcast. Bye for now.